talk to the guys about it? Is that something you kind of emphasize repeatedly throughout camp to not fight?
Certainly something you talk about. It's been going on in football since the beginning of time. We'll talk about it as we get into next week, certainly as we welcome the Vikings into town. But the guys understand there's work to get done. It is a waste of time, but our guys have done a nice job so far. But again, it's football. I get it.
We saw Quentin Jefferson go down last practice. Any update on him?
He's fine. Yep, just fine.
Will Jerome Ford play Saturday?
I'm not going to go each guy, Jeff, but a bunch of starters will be playing. I think Jerome has a good chance of playing, yes.
Kevin, even though it's just your first preseason game, it'll probably be James Hudson's first game playing left tackle. How important is it for him to take into that position?
Yeah, I think certain guys, Tony, have a real good understanding of left and right, and moving a guy either side doesn't bother them too much from a mental standpoint, from a physical standpoint, the technique. I'd say James has done a nice job with right and left throughout his career, even practice. He works on both sides, so I think he's excited for any opportunity because those are great reps for him. But I wouldn't say he's not the type of player who gets pigeonholed to one side.
Kevin, if you could talk about the glue guys, on this team, guys you couldn't live without, if you could make a clone, 52 clones of one of the guys on this roster to complete the team, who would that one guy be?
I mean, everybody knows this answer, right? Want to help him? Nicholas Jamal Chubb.
Why Chubb?
Nick's, since I've been here, is just one of the great leaders, one of the great guys on the team. Works hard in the meeting room, out here on the field. Fun to be around, so he's an easy one to coach.
Kevin, Jameis Winston kind of energized us before. What has his presence meant to the team, the quarterback group, and specifically to Deshaun?
Jameis has done a great job since day one in getting in here. He definitely has an infectious personality. You hear him before you see him, but he's done a really nice job. This is a new system for Jameis. He's learning like a lot of the new players in the system are, but he's really taken the bit, worked hard at it, and he's had some nice moments out here.
Kevin, we know obviously the backup quarterback is important if he has to play, but when he doesn't have to play, when he's just kind of supporting the starter, how important is it to have a guy like that?
That backup position, we've all seen it over the years. Certainly we've seen it, but just in my time, it's an important position. You don't get a ton of reps. You have to be ready to roll at a moment's notice, but you can have a great impact on the football team, both on the field and off the field. So I've seen some great ones. I don't think it's a mistake that you see a lot of coaches come from that backup quarterback position. It's kind of like backup catchers and point guards and those type of things. It's a cerebral position where I think you get a lot of guys that understand all the nuances of this game.
So for a guy like Jameis, who's a former #1 pick, has started a bunch of games, for him to sort of embrace that, what does that say about him?
Not surprisingly, he's a team guy all the way. He wants to win badly, and like you mentioned, Jameis has had an interesting career to date, but the book's never written. He's a guy that works hard at his craft, and like right now, his main goal in life is to get better as a football player and help his football team, and that's what he's doing.
Did you know much about his personality, Kevin, before you guys signed him?
You always do your research, Jeff, so you understand. People give you anecdotes and bits and pieces of guys, but no, until you are with Jameis and spending time with him, until you're doing that, you get a full picture of who he is.
He's reiterated to us multiple times that he's been in the situation Deshaun's been, being the guy, all the pressure on his shoulders. Was that part of the reason that you guys brought him in, to be kind of a mentor to Deshaun in that way?
I think he's a good football player. I'd really start there. He's played a lot of games in this league, won a lot of football games, so that's really the most important piece. Now, obviously, he's a good person, and in that way can support all of his teammates.
This is your last practice before the game Saturday, pretty much. Do you expect to give those guys who are going to get playtime a lot more snaps today?
Not necessarily. We'll adjust some of the reps and the walkthrough reps to get guys prepared for the game, but want to continue on our progression and getting ready for this season.
Aside from health, what's the one or two things you're hoping to get out of Saturday's game with Green Bay?
Well, they're keeping score, so you want to win. That's important. It's an opportunity for our guys to compete, and as you know, that's a core tenet of who we are. So, regardless of who's out there, we expect to compete, and the nice part, obviously, in those games, we'll get some different situations and different settings. It'll be live, so it's tackling to the ground. So that's something that you continue to emphasize with your guys. And I know it's not going to be perfect in game one. We don't expect it to be. But I think just the sheer competition of it all is what we're most excited about.
Kevin, next after Jameis in terms of DTR or Tyler, how will you divide those?
Yeah, I want to share that with the players first, Mary Kay. But we have a plan, and I'll let you guys know.
And do you think each will get about equal time?
Yeah, yes.
Kevin, how can a game on Saturday help a guy like Trey Welch as he's trying to show who he is and how he can help his team?
Yeah, another young player, Kelsey, who's doing a nice job. And you have to remember, this is a big moment for these guys, and they're getting on an NFL field for the first time and going up against an opposite jersey for the first time. So the message to our young players, and Trayton, and all of our young players, is really to take the practice field to the game field and not get overwhelmed by you're wearing a game jersey or you're in the stadium and those type of things. That's a message that we will certainly hit our guys on. I've done that in the past just with some former coaches that have our former players that can kind of let them know what this experience is like. So for all of our young players, but in this case, our young guys that are doing this for the first time, I think it's important that they remember that you don't want to lose all your technique, all the things that you've been teaching and learning about over the last couple of weeks just because it's in a game setting.
You talk about guys taking a leap in year two. For DeJuan, what's the key to him making that jump, especially when he had a really good season?
Yeah, it's that progression that comes with hard work and staying true to your craft and working at it. And DeJuan's done a nice job. I mean, he's pushing himself every single day. We're putting more on his plate every single day from a mental standpoint and that type of thing. But very competitive person. So he's, I think, enjoying these practices, enjoying going up against some really good players.
Kevin, expand a little bit more on Tyler and just what you obviously knew about him when you started in Baltimore. But
right.
What have you learned about him in this time of year?
Yeah, Snoop's done a great job in the meeting room. Very intelligent. Gets questions, answers questions quickly in that meeting room. I'm impressed by that. And then we know the player that we've seen him perform on the field, so we'll get a chance to see him Saturday night, obviously, and do those type of things. But he's a talented player, and I'm excited for Snoop and all those quarterbacks. But to be in a game setting and go kind of do their thing is exciting.
Kevin, when we talked to Jerome earlier, he said coming into the season, pass protection, pass blocking was an area where he felt he really needed to show the most growth this year.
Right.
Just what have you seen from him since he came into camp?
Well, as it relates to pass protection, I don't know if any running back comes into the NFL as a good pass protector. It's very, very rare. You just don't ask college players, running backs, to do what they're asked to do in the pros. So I think everybody's on a learning curve when it comes to that. So Jerome's exactly right in terms of that's part of his game that will continue to grow. I'm proud of him for last year, what he was able to achieve in that third down role oftentimes as a pass protector. So it's a natural continuation of those type of things.
Kevin, you're going into your fourth season as a Browns head coach. What have you learned about yourself during your time as a head coach, and what has this city taught you?
I don't know if we have enough time. What I've learned about myself, this job it will test you, but I've learned I have great people around me, from a coaching staff, from the you name it, training staff and medical staff and strength and conditioning. Really, I'm the beneficiary of some great people around me. And then as it relates to the city, I think obviously I've gotten to know the city over the years and understand Northeast Ohio and understand Brownies fans, and I certainly understand how much they love their team.
The renderings
Just a
of
couple
the
more.
stadium are out. What were your initial thoughts on it, and dome versus non-dome?
Yeah, I trust all the people involved. I like whatever they like. I'll give you the football coach answer. I'll play anywhere. Tell us where to play. Okay. All right. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.